do to make their business more efficient and more sustainable, and how easy it is to do it. So the Green Business Programme, as mentioned, is a free resource efficiency programme. It's funded by the National Waste Prevention Programme under the EPA. And C2C, the company I work for, which is called Clean Technology Centre, based in CIT in Cork, we manage the programme. We've been doing so for the last 5 years. We've been in the area of cleaner technology, sustainability for about 24 years. So I suppose we saw a niche, not me personally, but my boss and who set up the centre back in 24 years ago, that there was a need from industry to get assistance with managing resources better and not just releasing them into the environment. And specifically, we were working with the pharmaceutical industry, chemical industry back then, and there was a lot of pollution and Greenpeace vessels coming into the harbour complaining about the emissions. And these emissions were in actual fact emissions of valuable resources. So companies were releasing, say, solvents and various waste products, which are all very valuable. So these companies back then, even though they were large multinational pharmaceuticals, they were still inefficient. So they learned their lessons fairly quickly, reduced their emissions, conserved their resources, and became more efficient and more sustainable. Now, today, we're trying to educate the smaller businesses to do exactly the same. For example, the small shops, the retailers, offices, schools. Everybody has an opportunity to actually improve their resource efficiency and therefore make their business more efficient. There are a number of programs run by the National Waste Prevention Programme, which Clean Technology Centre manage, which include the Green Business Programme, Stop Food Waste, the Green Hospitality Programme, the Local Authority Prevention Network, which is for local authorities, and the Green Healthcare Programme. You may have seen the presentation earlier by Odile Lebolog from EPA, who spoke about food waste minimisation in the healthcare sector. So one of the main things that Green Business does as a service, we go on site and we look for opportunities and how you can improve the efficiencies in your business. We work with all types of businesses, every business from a range of business, food processors to banking. I'm sure there's other dimensions in that circle. And we're usually working with companies with a utility spend in excess of 25,000 euros. That's the kind of caveat that you need to meet in order for us to come on site and to help. But we also like to help smaller businesses through other means, through our website, etc. So we come and we look at the energy, we look at your waste, as in solid waste, we look at water, and we look at material consumption. These are the areas that we're focusing on. And our aim is to identify opportunities for improvement, where you can actually actively reduce your consumption, reduce your costs, make your business more efficient. So other activities that we participate in throughout the year include seminars. So we host free seminars around the country, regional seminars. So look out for those. And at those seminars, we get people from industry, business to come together to discuss current issues in regard to resource efficiency. And this is a very effective way of networking, businesses networking. We also produce guidance documents. So if you go to our stand number 66 today, we have a lot of materials with guidance on, say, greening the retail sector, greening your office, greening the hospitality sector, with lots of tips and suggestions on what you can actually do to make your business more efficient. And I'm going to talk about some of the online tools that we offer as well. Our new online tool is a resource efficiency tool, which it's basically a questionnaire that you fill in, and you get back a report for your particular business, which identifies opportunities for your business. You can do that online. It only takes about 15 minutes to do it, and you'll actually receive a report. So I'd like you to try that out. So I've kind of covered this already. Resource efficiency makes good sense because you reduce your utility costs, material costs. It makes you more compliant with government standards and supplier standards. So suppliers these days, you're all well aware of the green procurement. Suppliers are looking for green products, We've got the Origin Green program through Borbia, which is phenomenal success, where companies are identifying and proving their green credentials to the international market. And that's working very well to actually promote sales of Irish goods. So, we're looking at resource efficiency, we're looking at three elements, basically, and I'm going to talk about each of these briefly. We're looking at the organisation. We're looking at monitoring, measure, understanding your consumption, number one. Secondly, we're looking at the technical fixes. So technical fixes can be anything from lighting to air pumps to heating, cooling, etc. And then thirdly, you need to involve your staff, people. People are very important in order to make your business efficient. So it's a balance of all these three elements. So the first question we'll ask any business is, are you managing your utility costs and consumption? So the first question is, are you doing this? And how do you know if you're doing this? Do you actually know how much you're consuming? Or are you managing in the dark? Do you know, for example, your average unit price of electricity? Electricity costs vary from company to company, from supplier to supplier. They have all different tariffs and extras, etc. But when you actually work it out, how much are you actually paying per kilowatt hour? And a lot of companies don't go to the bother of actually doing that. And if you do that, you could be surprised. So you need to know that. You need to know how many units you're using. A lot of businesses don't know how many units of electricity, how many units of gas, how many litres of water they're using. Particularly small businesses, because they don't go to the time to do this. Without knowing this, you can't determine whether you're efficient or not. You can't actually benchmark yourself. How much electricity am I using against product, against, say, sales? If you don't know that, you don't know whether you're good or bad. So this is the first step in resource efficiency. And then you also need to know, am I using the right type of energy for my business? What do you mean energy? There's lots of different energies out there. There's gas and oil, electricity. So, just a little test here. How many of you actually know when you work out the costs per kilowatt hour of electricity, gas, oil? Could you fill this in for your business? Probably not, unless you're actually in this field, because number one, you don't get oil or flow gas measured in kilowatt hours, it's measured in litres. So you need to do the conversions. So you need a conversion table, as I've said. This is something we will do. And when we work it out, this is what happens. Electricity is the most expensive form of energy. So if you're using electricity to power your business, for example, heating water, it's the most expensive form of energy to use. You're much better off using natural gas, 4 cents per kilowatt hour. So you can create 3 times more hot water using natural gas than you would using electricity. So if you've got a dishwasher in your business, plumb it with hot water from your boiler, rather than feeding it with cold water, which is heated by electricity. If you're in the hospitality industry, for example. There's a little example here of how a company, when they're based in Dublin, it's an office block, they've got 400 employees, they were using an oil boiler, they had natural gas running outside their door. Natural gas is half the price of oil, so they switch over to natural gas, they install a new boiler which is more efficient. What happens? They reduce their fuel cost by 68%. Simple measures. Now, a little bit of cost involved, sure, yes. We're talking about a payback of a year. So the project cost was 23,000, the payback is 25. So the year, that's pretty good. And from then on, you're saving 25,000 euros per year. When you start to gather data, I've been involved in this through the Green Hospitality Program, Green Business Program, you get some very interesting statistics. We looked at the energy costs per sleeper in that Green Hospitality Program, and we saw it range from 21 euros per sleeper, knock that off the price of your income from a bed night, versus 1.6 for a 3-star hotel in Dublin City Centre. So a huge range in the cost of utilities per sale. The average is 6 euros per person, per sleeper. So this is important data to understand if you are to manage your business. The 5-star hotel is obviously very luxurious and very wasteful at the same time. probably has a lot of heating on in various places it doesn't need to be on. If you go to 5-star hotels, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to open the window. It's going to be roasting. Turn down the heat. We've been gathering benchmarks over a number of years, and it's very useful to have benchmarks just to show you that over the years the amount of energy used per bed night or per sleeper has dropped, which is a good thing for the hotel industry in Ireland. And if you are in the hotel industry, you should be looking at your benchmark versus these to see whether you're performing well or not. The same with water. Water has dropped over the years. It's now, the last time we measured it was 311 litres per sleeper, which is a good significant reduction, 40% reduction since 2004. Now, the good thing about benchmarking again is you can identify if you're wasteful. Still Organ Park Hotel was wasteful. It identified this through its benchmarks. It went looking for a problem because it was using twice the national consumption. There must be a problem somewhere. So eventually they found some leaks through using a company. Just to show you here, you've got a red line and a black line. The red line is before they fixed the leaks, the black line is after they fixed the leaks. So they managed to reduce their water consumption significantly by as much as, I think it was 40%, which saved them €65,000 per year because they were also reducing the amount of hot water that they were using through their leaks. Similar story for Stillorgan Village. They saved €24,000 per year on water from leaks. They found they had leaks. Again, this is my last one on the benchmarking side. The food waste, significant costs. Hotels in Ireland produce on average 50 tonnes of food waste per annum. That's for the average hotel. And that ranges from 125 tonnes down to 11 tonnes per hotel. So 50 tonnes on average of food waste from every hotel. It's estimated that a tonne of waste costs about €5,000 to actually buy, cook, dispose of. So when you multiply it up, the average Irish hotel is wasting €255,000 worth of food waste. You can actually reduce half of that, so we're saying you could actually save about €127,000 on average for the average hotel. Okay, then we get on to the technical solutions. There's two lights here. One is actually not a light. The one on the left is a heater, because 80% of the energy put into that light bulb comes out as heat. Were you ever in a lift shaft or in a lift and you feel heat in the back of your neck from the spotlight overhead? They are heaters. They're reducing heat, mostly heat rather than light. If you get an LED bulb, it's the reverse. 80% of the energy comes in, going into the bulb comes out as light, and 20% comes out as heat. So that's the way you need to be going. So LEDs are the way of the future. I think most of you would know that by now. And because of the urgency of climate action and climate change, there are great incentives out there at the moment to move towards energy efficiency, to install energy efficiency lighting, and then energy companies will pay you to do this. On average, electricity energy companies will give you 5 cents for every kilowatt of electricity you reduce in your business. So that's pretty good incentive, and I'll explain why now. This was the Sleeve Russell Hotel up in Cavan, and their supplier provided them with free LEDs. The supplier came into the general manager and said, here's a box of LEDs, you can have them for free, no catch. Just sign the dotted line here that gives us your energy credits, because the energy supplier was taking their energy credits at 5 cents kilowatt hour, paying for the light bulbs. They were able to get the lights for free. The benefit to the Sleeve Russell Hotel was they now reduced the cost of running each light bulb by €40 per bulb. These are for the halogen spots. And the value of those savings, the actual, I suppose what the supplier got back was 5 cents per kilowatt hour. That's €18 per lamp. So he was getting €18 per lamp back. So the biggest saving really for the Sleeve Russell Hotel was the electricity reduction of €40 per lamp. That's actually €8,000 for the lobby area alone. And they've moved on to other areas of the hotel now. They're moving on. This time they're doing it slightly differently. They're buying the lights, they're taking the credits themselves, because it's a little bit more economic for them. Okay, these ones, urinals, for the men, huge waste of water. What are they doing? Generally in the past, and they're still in it, they're flushing water down the drain 24 hours a day, no control. They don't need to be flushing. It's estimated that one of these cisterns flushing a set of urinals costs €800 a year to run. 800 euros. So if you manage those, you can significantly reduce that cost. You can control it with motion sensors, push buttons, and turn them off. That's the simplest solution. But I think the motion sensors would be the best way forward because it activates the urinals when there is occupancy in the bathroom. The Revolution Bar in Waterford, interesting name, they actually did this, and at a cost of €350, they put in a sensor, and the sensor was paid for within 3 months. So this is a no-brainer for any business. McDonald's are a little bit more advanced. This is a waterless urinal, so it doesn't use any water, and you can actually retrofit those in your business as well. So if you do have urinals, you can put in waterless, which are basically little chemical socks that will get rid of the odor, etc. Finally, staff awareness is very important. Did you know that a kitchen porter, if running a tap unnecessarily for no good reason for 5 minutes in every hour of his working shift, was to leave a hot tap running, it would cost the business €6,000. That's how much hot water is. If you do the calculation, work out the actual cumulative effect of all this hot water running down the drain, which might seem pretty innocuous at the time, it's only a little bit of water, it adds up. Another great example of involving staff in awareness and reducing waste was in the case of EMC here. They were spending €150,000 on cups and lids, so they gave every member of staff a thermal flask. Like this one here. The cost of the flask was €6. Staff were responsible for washing their own cups. So the company actually reduced their purchase cost by €150,000. Now they would have had a cost of setting up washing stations for the cups. So there was an investment of €20,000, but the payback was 7 weeks. And another benefit of this was, besides reducing all this waste, the coffee now stayed hotter for longer, so less coffee was consumed. So there's another benefit on that. Finally, I just want to tell you about the online tool. It's available on the front of our greenbusiness.ie. You go on site, online. If you fill in the questionnaire, it's very simple. It's multiple choice. The answers are yes, somewhat, or no. So, do you know what the energy costs? Do you know what equipment are using energy? Those type of questions. Fill it in, and you will get a resource efficiency score. It'll tell you how well you're scoring in each of the areas of energy, water, waste, and management. And finally, what we will give you back is an action plan telling you what you can do for your business to make it more efficient. And this is a very simple tool, especially for smaller businesses that don't have the resources in-house to tackle resource efficiency. Start here and see where you go from there. Once you've done that, you can come back to us, give us a phone call, and we will speak to you and give you further advice. As I said, we do have guidance, which include the resource efficiency case studies for the hospitality sector and general industry ones. They're available on our table, at our stand. That's all from me. Thank you very much.